As a third grader, I went to Hoffman Elementary School in Cincinnati, Ohio. I happen to live literally right down the street from my elementary school. And so due to that, now that was back in the day, because I've got a little age on me, back in the day on the playground, there were spots for each homeroom. And so if you got there early before the doors opened, you would stand at your homeroom spot. And so because I literally lived down the street, and you know how it is, you want to be the line leader. So I'd race to school trying to be the first one in line. And so because I was on a particular day, I was privy to a conversation that my teacher, my third grade teacher, Miss Rosie McWilliams, she was having with her neighbor teacher. Miss McWilliams, just to give you this imagery, was a tall African-American, older woman, glasses. And so in this particular conversation, because I was there first, I was the leader, she put her hand around my waist and she said, "Oh, this young man right here, he's so good at math, he literally could teach the class." I excitedly said, "Can I?" Yeah. So she allowed me to do so. I was able to teach long division to my third grade class. And what it did was it gave me this passion. Honestly, it's not something, that passion was there. But it was clear that Miss McWilliams saw something in me. It was interesting that she didn't necessarily say, "Oh, he's so smart, I'm going to give him higher things or more rigor." She says, "No, I'm going to allow him to teach the class." And so it's interesting, almost ironic, to be doing something called a spark talk, because people could say, "Well, she ignited the spark for you to be a teacher." But I want to give you a slightly different thought. As opposed to saying she's a spark, I want you to consider being a wick. A wick. Like a candle wick, right? Because a candle wick does several things. First of all, I had the flame. I had this passion clearly to teach. I had this knowledge or what have you to be able to do mathematics. But Miss McWilliams, for me, wasn't just a spark, she was a wick. Why be a wick? Because a wick is the place where the flame sits. The wick is the place that is the foundation for the flame to burn. And not only that, hopefully you're not as weird as I am and you are thinking about candle wicks like I am. But if you are, a wick also provides the conditions that are necessary for that flame to burn. See, that's what you want to be as a teacher, as a leader, as a coach, as a parent. Let's not just be the spark that lights the flame. Let's be the place where the flame burns. Let's be the seat of the flame that allows that flame to have the necessary conditions to burn strongly. Well, that's wonderful. What does it take for a flame to burn? If you know much about fire, fire requires three things to burn well. And we want to make sure that all those three things are necessary. See, wicks do that using kind of what's called a capillary action, almost like a traction type of action. Wicks provide the flame the necessary needs to do it. Think of like a paintbrush. You know when you dip a paintbrush into some paint, you ever notice how the paint stays on, it doesn't just fall off for some reason? In that same way, a wick brings the energy that's needed to the flame so that the flame continues to burn the way it needs to. So that's why, we could be a spark and quickly start a flame, but we could be a wick and make sure that the conditions that the flame needs to burn continuously. And that flame needs three things. And if that flame has three things, any fire will continue to burn without question. One, a flame needs fuel. If you want a fire to burn, if we want the passions of our students, of our children, of the people around us to burn, they need fuel. They need resources. They need support. At times it might even be training, right? We need whatever is necessary for the fuel of that passion, the fuel of that gift, the fuel of that talent to burn the way it's supposed to. So that flame needs fuel if we want to be a wick. Two, that flame needs oxygen or air. If you need oxygen or air, I liken that to, we need space. We need creative opportunity. We need time. You know, a lot of times we've got to make sure that we give our folks enough space, enough time, enough opportunity to be creative, to think outside the box, to utilize whatever is needed to make that flame burn. And here is the third thing that we need. We need fuel, we need air, and yes, we need heat. If it's not hot enough, a flame will not continue to burn. A flame will literally go out because there's not enough heat. Heat may look like a lot of things. It may look like it may look like a timeline. It may look like a framework, right? And so it's important. All three of those things are necessary if we want the flame to burn. So I implore to you this thought. Yes, we can ignite the spark, but I encourage you to do more than that. Let's not just ignite the spark. Let's be the wick. Let's be the place where the flame can continue to burn, and let's be the place that provides the conditions for the people around us to be the best they can be.